Welcome back, Falcon fans. Welcome back to Atlanta Falcon Fandemic. And today I am highlighting my new Player of the Week segment. This week, the lucky player we're going to take a look at today is Kirk Cousins. And just so happens that this video is part two of my very first video entitled Why Oh Why Kirk Cousins, that can be found here on YouTube at Atlanta Falcon Fandemic. And in case you missed it, I laid out all the reasons why Kirk was the chosen one for us here in Atlanta. Everything was highlighted from his stats to performances and leading up to now, and ultimately my perspective on why he was the perfect choice for us over Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Now, before I indulge into this great content, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, share it with your friends, family, and all other Falcon fans you know. Now, before I get started, let me say this. I am 100% all in on Kirk Cousins and trusting him that he'll get the job done to lead this team. I am 100% all in with Kirk Cousins. Okay? So, I know you guys are going to come at me in the comments. I welcome that. But just let that be known. Because some of you are going to listen at this and presume that I have changed my mind once again. No, I am 100% all in on Kirk Cousins. I truly believe in him. But I'm going to say this. If Kirk Cousins does not get the job done that he was brought here to do, we are back to square one. Let me say that again. If Kirk Cousins does not get that job done that he was brought here to do, that he's being paid $180 million to do, we are back at square one. Now, you may be wondering, well, why you say that if you 100% all in? Well, everybody knows Kirk Cousins and his past, okay? And yes, we do have a phenomenal backup in Michael Penix out there, and he's waiting on his opportunity to take over the team. But if Kirk Cousins does not bring that winning atmosphere that everyone expects, and if he does not develop Michael Penix on schedule as expected, we are back to square one. Especially if after year two, Kirk Cousins is not living up to potential, or he's not fulfilling his end of the bargain. And you guys know what I mean. Penix is ready to play. He's anxiously waiting to play. But as any rookie quarterback, there is a learning curve that can only be taught via a great veteran quarterback. Now, when you bring in a quarterback of the caliber of Kirk Cousins into a division such as the NFC South, this team is typically predicted to rise to the top of that division. Cousins signing with the Atlanta Falcons was no exception. Okay, Kirk Cousins now with the Atlanta Falcons. There's a belief that the NFC South is Atlanta's to lose, and many would say that the NFC South is one of the weakest division, or is the weakest division in the NFL. You know, each opinion is on, right? When the Atlanta Falcons acquired Kirk Cousins, people throughout in the world, the NFL world, were ready to crown the Falcons king of the NFC South, and rightly so. There are some, like me, that speculate that Kirk would finish the mission he almost had before his injury last season and becoming NFL's MVP. And I do believe that. I think he's going to have an MVP season. I truly believe that. When Coach Raheem Morris set out to find another quarterback, he did so with not just having a better quarterback play in mind, but on the premise of having a significantly better quarterback play. You could have brought in Justin Fields or Russell Wilson and had better quarterback play. But we want a leader, we want a facilitator, we want an orchestrator, and Kirk Cousins is that. But with Kirk's age, injury, and lack of wins in the playoffs, there are reasonable questions that need answers for our beloved fans. Question one, will Kirk Cousins bounce back into Pro Bowl form? Will Kirk Cousins hit his over under of 30 touchdown passes and 4,000 yards in 2024? Will Kirk Cousins survive a 17-game season from that injury? But the number one question on everybody's mind, or should be on everybody's mind, is does Kirk Cousins take Atlanta over the top of the NFC South? Does Kirk Cousins come in here, own it, and surpass the expectations of the NFC South division and go on and take on and win the conference? Now, that's a broad storyline many are wondering. Cousins is coming off an Achilles injury in his mid-30s, but he's also never been the most mobile quarterback. So we're not really looking for him to doing all that running anyway. So hopefully that'll take off a lot of the stress that comes with playing quarterback. But he still have to plant that foot to throw a good ball, right? So it'll be interesting to see how his style of play and his age factor into his recovery from the injury. And more importantly, how long will it last? Of course, we as fans, we all hope for the best for him as he catapult this team to the next level and into the win column in the pursuit of the NFC South Championship. And I do believe we're going to go that far. It's a new day for the Falcons, but the argument for the Falcons is that we'll be able to establish ourselves as the dominant team in the NFC South now that we have Kirk Cousins and Raheem Morris to lead. Now, granted, like Matt Ryan, Cousins is the poster boy for above average quarterbacking, but not great quarterbacking. Now, Matt Ryan did set some records before he left here, and those records probably stand a long time. But was it great quarterbacking? Matt Ryan did have Kyle Shanahan at his disposal, and hopefully he'll have Zach Robinson to do the same for him. But he did have Julio. He did have Roddy. So Matt Ryan had some good receivers that, that put in work for him. If you go back and look at the film on a lot of the catches that Julio and Roddy and the others made, it was purely on the skill of the receiver and why those catches were made. Now, Kirk Cousins can play, but sometimes he plays like Tom Brady one day and then Bobby Brister the next. There are more Brady days than Brister days. However, he is a huge upgrade for this offense. Although he is not new to this offense, the question is, can he come into this new offense, orchestrate it, and develop the team chemistry and be effective year one? At the very least, year two. Cousins represents an upgrade at the position over what the Falcons have had the last two seasons, no question about it. But this unit has all the elements to become one of the surprise groups in the NFL and to do so off the bat. Very quickly. A quarterback is only as good as his pass catchers and vice versa. So that's why I was like, Matt Ryan had Julio, Roddy White, and a lot of times those throws that Matt Ryan threw were on the heels of the skills that Julio and Roddy executed on. So, but anyway, if the last 2 years have taught us anything, is that this two-way statement is the reason why I believe we will see Kirk Cousins impact most immediately in the early production of Drake London and Kyle Pitts specifically. And me personally, I'm looking for not just play going down the field, but once we get closer into that 30 yards to red zone play, third down play. That's why I want to see the difference in Kirk Cousins and how he facilitates and orchestrates Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Everybody knows Kyle Pitts was not used like he was supposed to last season under Arthur Smith. And, judging from Kyle Pitts' inaugural season with his 1,000 yards, I'm presuming that there is more of that in Kyle Pitts. Now, granted, Kyle Pitts play a lot of those games in the slot, not predominantly on tight end. So I'm wondering if Zach Robinson would use Kyle Pitts in that area, especially since he brought in two big tight ends, uh, in Warner and uh, y'all have to forgive me. I forgot who the other tight end is, but those are primarily blocking tight ends, as opposed to Kyle Pitts is just a big wide receiver. So, but he's a tight end. But anyway, the numbers back it up for Cousins. Cousins is one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the league right now, and for more than a decade, Cousins put together a complete completion percentage that lands at 66.9%. At the same time, he established a very competitive 63%, or 65%, excuse me, on third down play. See, that's where I want to see where Cousins separates himself from the rest of the quarterbacks in the league and separates himself from the quarterbacks that the Atlanta Falcons have had in the past that play on third downs. And third downs has been, like I said in my first video, our Achilles heel even before Matt Ryan. So third down has been abysmal for Atlanta, even before Chris Chandler, I presume. I think Chris Chandler did pretty good on third down, but nowhere near what Kirk Cousins is capable of doing. Now, if Kirk Cousins is able to improve red zone scoring, the NFC South or the rest of the league, for that matter, simply just won't matter. For reference, Matt Ryan's completion percentage through his first 12 seasons in the league was 65.4%, while Matthew Stafford was 62.6%. And according to the PFF, the Pro Football Reference, Cousins ranks fourth in completion percentage among all active quarterbacks. Cousins also spent 6 seasons of his career in the top 10 in passes completed and passing touchdowns. And you know who all going to benefit from that? From that stat alone? Drake London and tight end slash slot receiver, I'm going to say right now, Kyle Pitts. They're going to eat. For those of us that has any concern about Kirk Cousins' first 4 games, and this year we have the Steelers, the Eagles, Chiefs, and Tampa Bay. Here's a comforting thought. Historically, and this is since Cousins came into the league, Cousins has been very solid coming out of the blocks. In his 9 seasons as a starter in the NFL, Cousins has averaged a 66.7 completion percentage, 1,061 passing yards, 7 touchdown passes, and 3 interceptions in his first 4 games. Let me say who we have again. We got the Steelers, Chiefs, Eagles, and Tampa Bay. Not in that order, but those are our first 4 games. So if Kirk Cousins plays to that potential, guys, we may come out of that first 4 games better than the 2002 prediction that I gave. 2002, the 2-2 prediction that I gave in that video. His recent play has gotten even better. And this is when he got to Minnesota. Since the 2021 season, Cousins has averaged a 66.9% completion percentage, 1,122 passing yards, and with 8.6 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions in his first 4 games. Talk about consistency. He actually even went up just a little bit. For the sake of comparison, this was Matt Ryan's stat line through the first 4 games of the 2017 season. The last time the Falcons reached the playoffs. So those stats for Matt Ryan in that season was 65.1% completion rate, 1,109 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Strikingly similar, right? This is the 2000 season, right? Only thing that Matt Ryan did was threw a couple more interceptions than Kirk Cousins threw those first 4 games. Another interesting stat for you, and this is, and I love throwing these stats out there because there's a lot of guys out there in these chat room and that come in my comments that they love throwing the stats at you. So I went another step further, and I did a little research as well. Like I said in my first video, it's the same thing, stats, proven stats. But anyway, back to the stats. Kirk Cousins has recorded 3 games with 350 plus passing yards through week 7. No other quarterback has more than one such game, not even the greats Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. What this tells me is that after those first 4 games, Kirk Cousins is going to heat up. So if we get through, let's just say for the sake of argument, we get through the first 4 games at 2-2. Although I think we might go 3-1 to the first 4 games, but I'm going to say for the sake of argument, we go 2-2. And through week 7, Kirk Cousins heats up, and he's done that every year since he came into the NFL. He heats up, and our schedule after those first 4 games gets easier. And like I said before, I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, but at the same time, we talking about Kirk Cousins in one of the weakest divisions with one of the easiest schedules. I'm not going to say the easiest the Falcons ever had, but one of the easiest schedules that's been set for this year. Beyond, looking at other teams. So if Kirk Cousins heats up, guys, we may even surpass the year when Chris Chandler took us to the Super Bowl and we only lost 2 games. Maybe. So this brings us back to whether or not Kirk can actually achieve the 30 touchdown, 4,000 plus yards expectations. I personally think Kirk will have the career to be had while here in Atlanta, including winning the NFL MVP honors, including winning the NFC Championship for us. These are some pretty lofty numbers: 30 touchdowns, 4,000 plus yards for a quarterback coming off an Achilles injury and joining a new team. They aren't numbers Cousins has had a lot of problems hitting in the past. In the seasons where he started at least 15 games, Cousins has topped 4,000 yards 7 of 8 seasons. But his touchdown numbers do get a little trickier. All right, with Washington, Cousins never hit 30 touchdown passes. And his 3 seasons at Washington as a starter, he tossed 29 touchdowns, 25, and 27. Now, with the Vikings, those numbers went up. And he threw 30 touchdowns, 26, 35, 36, 33, and 29. And was on pace to easily top 30 before his injury last season. I'm looking for Kirk to rebound. I think he really wanted that MVP honor, and had he not gotten hurt, it would have been in the bag for him. Kirk Cousins 7.62 per passing attempt, averaging 263.1 yards per game. 7 of his 12 seasons with 4,000 plus passing yards. 8 games with 400 plus passing yards. I'm going to share a stat with you guys. Or should I say another stat? 300 plus passing attempts, averaging 9.65 yards per attempt. Now, I know you're asking, wait a minute. When did Kirk ever do that? Well, he didn't. But overall, Kirk numbers were strikingly similar to none other than Chris Chandler, who with those numbers in 1998 took us to the conference championship and finally on to the Super Bowl. So it could be done. So at the bare minimum, Kirk Cousins brings consistency to the Falcons, and that is what we have needed, really lacked in the quarterback position in the recent years. Now, there will be an argument that Matt Ryan was consistent. He just didn't have an offensive line. Like I said, there are some that will argue. But if you don't think so, just drop a comment. We'll talk about it. Drop a comment in the comment section. Drake London had this to say about Kirk. To have a guy who knows the ins and outs of it, and to make this a little bit easier, maybe raise our percentage a little bit higher to go out there and ball and execute, then I'm going to listen. And he also said he's played with a lot of dogs and he's made them great players. It's also hard not to notice that he helps them get paid too. And he's talking about Justin Jefferson, who just signed for 4 years, $140 million this offseason, uh, with 110 guaranteed. So that's something any great receiver like Drake would especially pay attention to. So let's also keep in mind too what Kirk Cousins did for the careers of guys like Pierre Garcon, Deshaun Jackson, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. All have posted 1,000-yard seasons. That's something to take note. All his receivers that he has had playing with the Vikings, well, not just the Vikings, over with Washington also. All of them have posted 100-yard seasons. So that's something to look forward to with Drake London. And maybe even Kyle Pitts too. It's things like that that don't go unnoticed. The great receivers like, Drake London and Kyle. So you have to wonder, how good can this offense be with two receivers like Kyle and Drake London, both who are capable of 1,000 yards? And let's not forget about Bijan Robinson coming out of the backfield. He's already regurgitated that he wants to be used more like McCaffrey. So that's going to be a lot of passing coming out of the offense, which is going to throw a lot of defenses off balance. And there aren't many linebackers in the league that could keep up with a Bijan Robinson or Tyler Algier for that matter. And Tyler Algier is just another story. I don't know how we're going to keep up with that guy. If he has any kind of season like he had with his first, guys, you talking about a 1-2 punch out of this world. Now, I don't know if you guys remember when the 1-2 punch we had with Freeman and Coleman. Now, that was the lighter side of it. But this 1-2 punch here reminds me of Andrews and Riggs. Two different style running backs. Well, William Andrews was a fullback, but he played like a running back. But the 1-2 punch we have with Bijan and Tyler Algier, guys, I think Atlanta needs to keep paying Algier to stay. Make the money attractive. Keep that backfield intact for at least 3 to 4 years. At least till Michael Penix gets in here and we get to use him with that same backfield. At least. But we need to pay Tyler Algier to stay. I know other teams are going to come at him with offers, but if Atlanta can find a way to keep him, we need to keep that backfield together. But London is just one of the young pass catchers for Cousins to target this upcoming season. Like I said, tight end Kyle Pitts and running back Bijan Robinson are also on the list. All are under the age of 24, while Cousins is set to turn 36 years old in August, which to me does not say anything because Chris Chandler, I think he got to be 34 when he was here, I believe, and he ended up taking us to the Super Bowl. 33 or 34, something like that. But anyway, ended up in the Super Bowl. So that age thing does not play relevant with me. The injury does. But like I said, I'm all in 100% with Kirk Cousins. I'm actually, although it's one of them things that you got to think about, it's not one of those things that I'm going to relish on. But Cousins stepping up as a teacher was intentional from the first day. And this was said by Kyle Pitts. That intentionality includes the quarterback working with each player individually in ways they're best able to learn. For example, while just watching film may work for some players, Pitts needs to be able to physically walk through plays on the field to take in the formation. Cousins caters to all those needs. Cousins' teaching style also helps this group This young group learns a new offense under offense coordinator Zach Robinson. But everyone needs to take steps in mastering the new scheme. Cousins already has some experience with the new system after working with a Minnesota Vikings coaching, as well as ties with the Los Angeles Rams, and also with Robinson. So there are moments when Cousins breaks down plays in a digestible way for the teammates, and this was said by Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Both of those said it in different ways, but this is basically what they said. Cousins breaks down plays to where the players can digest it, which means if they truly understand it, they're going to perform it better on the field as opposed to just sitting in the film room, and talking about it. Zach Robinson went on to say, "Coaches, sometimes we make things overcomplicated, and players just need that quick little bit. Kirk got a great way to explain things. He's just a good communicator. It helps that Cousins is still as much of a student as he is a teacher." Earlier in the offseason, head coach Raheem Morris described the quarterback as a nerd in meetings with his prevalent note taking and attention to detail. The cool thing with him is having a quarterback. This is what Bijan Robinson said. The cool thing with him is having a quarterback that studies so much. I saw this little play sheet, his little spot sheet, and he throws them into those spots in practice. I'm like, that's kind of crazy. This is what Bijan Robinson said. So in other words, he has a little cheat sheet, and he actually draws on there where the ball should be placed when the receiver gets to that certain spot. And he said he goes to practice and he sees that. But Cousins' meticulous nature was evident from the very start and carries out as the Falcons continue their offseason programming. In their first offensive meeting, quarterback coach T.D. Jakes, remember T.D. Jakes, got to be kidding me. But anyway, T.J. Yates remembers Cousins pulled out that notepad and gave an impromptu presentation when the meeting was simply meant for introductions. It was good for the coaches to see. It was good for the players in the room to open up their eyes and go, wow, this guy's about business. This is the guy that's going to lead us. This is the type of professional and the type of quarterback that you want. Well, this all sounds well and good for the passing game. Let's remember when Coach Morris, on the other hand, said, in as simple of a form as you can possibly make it, is get the ball to Bijan as much as you can in as many ideal situations that you possibly can. Even though Robinson is a running back, we know this also means he will get plenty of receiving opportunities and help the offense stay on the field. So this offense is going to be balanced, much like the 2016 Super Bowl team where Matt Ryan spread the ball like he had superstars at every skill spot. Now, my final thoughts on this: betting the unders across the board on individual player season stats is the way to go. There are just too many factors that need to fall your way for a player to stay healthy for 17 games and have a team situation that keeps them consistently getting above average stats. And that's how I felt going into this article. New team, new offense, new coaches, a recent season-ending injury, trouble with pressure, and admitted bias against Cousins had me ready to hit under and hard. But taking a deeper look has changed my thinking, especially as I did the research and did that first video. Health will always be a concern when betting on a full season of stats, but there is no doubt the Falcons' offense under Cousins should be able to put up 4,000 yards and 30 passing touchdowns. I feel better about betting the over on 4,000 passing yards than I do on the touchdowns, as touchdowns are finical no matter how you look at them. But I also believe that he should be projected for those 30 touchdowns. So guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about my final thought. If Kirk Cousins reached that 4,000 plus yard passing yards, the 30 touchdowns, the Falcons are going to win the NFC Championship. If he goes far over that, we're into the Super Bowl and possibly win it. If not year one, definitely year two. Guys, drop a comment in the likes in the comment section. Like this video, comment, comment, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, invite your friends into my comment. And oddly enough, I have a lot of other fans from other teams dropping into my comment section, and they actually are giving me feedback. So, like I said, even if you know people who are just football fans, invite them into this video, invite them into this chat, invite them to the comment section. Uh, ask them to subscribe to the channel. I got more great comment coming. I don't know who my player of the week is going to be for next week, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be just as enlightening as this one. I mean, every player we got this year, we can actually do a player of the week video on. I just don't know which one I'm going to do, but I'll probably just throw up a coin and I mean put names in a hat and just draw them out. But anyway, like I said, give me a thumbs up, guys, and thank you for sharing and liking this video. Peace.